Yo, YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I've got for you guys 10 tricks to turn you guys into a pro, 10 warm-up mechanics that I like to start my day off with when playing against bots. Let's get right into it with tip number one. It's going to be your recoil control. So right now, I'm just going to get about 4 bots here just to show you guys how it kind of plays out. Just regular bots here, but they kind of twisted this year. I'm not going to lie. I think they buffed the bots a little bit, but anyways, on a side note there, let's move on to the main tip of the video. So first thing we want to do is just work on our recoil control. We're simply going to start off our warm-up by just shooting some bots, getting into flow state, and just making sure we're in rhythm, right? Every time I see people play or I coach people that I look off, I'm just trying to warm up and their movement's a little bit off and stuff like that. It's because, you know, you want to warm up a little bit and get into rhythm. Just like with any sports game or sports in general, you always want to have a rhythm, and just like that in Call of Duty. So we're going to start off with our recoil control. What does that mean for anyone that's kind of new to the channel or just generally maybe new to the game? We're going to shoot out our weapon onto this wall, and we're going to see how the weapon naturally recoils and where the pattern goes. So you can see, how the weapon goes up and up and up and up and up. What that is that's your natural recoil code. I'm telling you guys, these guys are twisted, bro. These bots are twisted today. But when you shoot your weapon against a wall, you can see how the bullets naturally go. So for this case, it naturally goes up and a little bit to the right. So what we're going to do is when we're shooting now, we're just going to try to go against the grain. So we're simply going to go down a little bit and a little bit to the left. That's all we're trying to do is go against the recoil pattern, okay? So we're going to go across. So we see this first bot, we go through, we shoot a little bit down and left, a little bit down and left. That's all we're trying to do here. When I would normally warming up, I wouldn't really do anything crazy. I can do kind of any movement I want before we get into specifics, but that's all I'll do. I'll just warm up, shooting some bots, and just try to get my hands a little bit warm and just make sure I'm ready for the gunfights before I move on to anything advanced. So that's literally the first thing, nice and simple. Everyone can do this no matter what level you are. Just control your recoil, shoot some bots. So that's going to be method number one, tip number one done. Now we've warmed up slightly, we're going to go into method number two, and this is going to be hip firing to work on your centering. So once again, what is centering? Centering is this middle dot. You see this middle white dot here, how it's on the cross? What you're trying to do is you want to get your centering as close to the opponents as possible so that when you aim in, you don't have to correct your aim. Let me show you an example of bad centering, and we can go through how to improve it and why it's so important. This opponent there, right? Let's say my centering was poor around the corner. You see when I see him, I have to essentially snap up and then aim in, and it gives my opponent a time to kill me. However, good centering is something like this. You see how when we aim in, we're already on target? That's how you want your centering to be. You want your centering to be that when I go around the corner, it's on target. So nice and simple, you go around corner, you're on target. Now, a lot of you guys must know this, but again, it's about refreshing your memory and just going through the basics, because that's what makes great players. It's about working on the fundamentals and getting them up to point. So we go through, and what I like to do is I kind of just go through. I like having a class like a laser or the SMG, just going around making sure my centering is nice and smooth, and just basically trying to miss as little as possible, right? So we go through, and it doesn't actually let me change my class, so I can't make a fully Hipfire build, but this is fine. We're going across here, I'm looking at the radar, so I see him around the corner, so I know when I slide cancel around, I have to look to the right. And that's all it comes down to, anticipation and kind of predicting where they're going to be and working on your centering from that. So once again, I know he's around the corner, so I slide across, make sure my centering's okay, we go through, make sure my centering's okay, and stuff like that. So tip number two is going to be working on your centering, just making sure, once again, we're having our kind of just overall shot nice and smooth. We're trying to work on our ceiling our floor as a player here. Once our floor is at a good level, we can work on our ceiling with some more advanced movement. So that's going to be method number two. Let's move on right to method number three. As this video progresses, we're going to get more and more advanced techniques, but for now, it's going to be a standard slide cancel. We're going to be working on our centering and our jump shot. So just to slide cancel, we want to simply slide around the corner and then press the jump button. Okay, why? Let me show you how it looks. We slide cancel. When the kill cam goes through, you're going to see how it looks on their screen. You're seeing as we go across there. Hopefully he's looking at me. Please look at me. There you go. So you can see, okay, he's not looking at me. Let's go again. Let's try and let a bot kill us. This is probably the longest bit of these videos, is letting the bot actually kill me to see how it looks on their screen. So where are they? Okay, so right now, look, as I go around the corner, you can see as I go around the corner, when on my screen I go around the corner, it doesn't look that crazy, right? Look at my opponent's POV here. Look, as I come around the corner, again, didn't look that crazy because of the angle, so it's a little bit annoying here. He's not really giving me the best representation, but look at this. I'm gonna go backwards. You see right now I'm going around the corner. You can see that, hopefully, there you go. So you can see how you can slide cancel around corners, how it looks on your screen in comparison. So look at this. On my screen, it looked okay, but on their screen, you see how I kind of zoomed through the corner and I was already shooting? That's why it's so important to slide cancel around corners, because on your screen, yes, it looks okay, but on their screen, it looks a lot more fast, a lot more efficient, and you can get so many first shots off, okay? So you want to practice your slide canceling and just your general jump shots. Again, we're starting off with some nice and easy warm-ups for every level, and as we proceed, we'll go into some more detailed ones. Now, even if you guys are maybe crimson or iridescent, these are still good good warm-ups to start with. It's always about the basics, building up and going from there. So we're going to slide cancel, go for a jump shot. Just make sure, you know, our centering's good and we're working on those fundamentals. Right now I've got a bit of packet burst, so it's a little bit annoying to warm up, but it's all good. We go through again, look at the radar, just making sure my centering is good. I make sure I'm slide cancelling well. I'll maybe shoot 3 with that, and then I go for like a standard jump shot. So we go for a standard jump shot, and again, just working on those fundamentals. We go through, nice little slide cancel. So I'll probably do that for another 20 or 30 bots, and then I'll move on to the next step. Now we're on tip number 4. We can start to use a few more advanced techniques. So we could start with our first Omni movement method. So what we want to do now is use a new sliding forward into a prone mechanic, which I think is very, very good this year, and we're going to mix it with a drop shot. So tip number 3 was more like, you know, slide cancels and jump shots. Now we're going to go for the drop shot. So first of all, what is a drop shot and how can we use it to our advantage? Essentially just proning in a gunfight like that. The advantage you have is when the enemy shoots you, it's quite unnatural. So let me show you. It's quite unnatural. You see, you know, imagine their centering was around chest level. You go around the corner and you go for the drop shot, as you're seeing here in the kill cam. It's a little bit unnatural, right? Because they might not expect it. You might catch them off guard. It's a nice thing to do. You go around the corner, you could drop shot like that. So what we're going to do now is this new mechanic, which is essentially sliding forward into a prone. Okay, so the drop shot is when you, just to show you guys a few tips for the drop shot, when you're going for a drop shot, what you actually want to do is when you prone, you want to stop running. You want to stop running, and I like to actually move a step backwards. If I'm prone, I move a step backwards. Why? I just got turned on by a bot, but let's move on. What I like to do is when you slide, sorry, when you press the prone button, depending on what you're doing in terms of your run and stuff, it will do a different animation. If you're running and pressing the prone button, you'll notice that the game makes you slide, okay? But if you stand still and press the prone button, you notice how you physically go prone. That's the difference. But if you move backwards by walking, you can see it actually makes you go prone. So if you run backwards, you can see you slide backwards. So this is a new thing in this game with Omni movement, where you can essentially slide in all directions. So you have to make sure you're comfortable with the difference between sliding and proning and how to use it. So like I said, for me, the easiest way to kind of do this is when I'm playing, if I want to do a drop shot, I just stop running. So let's say I go around the corner, I want to drop shot, I stop running, and I kind of just move in a walking motion, left or right or backwards. I just make sure that when I'm proning, I'm not running. That way I'm not accidentally sliding, and I'm just making sure I'm constantly going for the drop shot, okay? Drop shot for me is one of the best mechanics in the game. It's a very simple one. It's been around for years, but it just makes it nice and snappy, makes it harder for you to hit, and it's a really, really good mechanic to use if you don't have it in your game already. But what I wanted to go through mainly was the sliding forward into a prone, okay? So what you want to do is you want to slide forward like normal. Now, when you press the slide cancel, when we go through the slide cancel we went through earlier, you can see why I slide and then press the jump button. But this time, what I want you to do is when you slide, instead of pressing the jump button, I want you to press the prone button. So I want you to slide, let go, and then hold the slide. I hope that makes sense. If you guys have any questions, let me know down in the comments. I know it might take a little bit of time to get used to. Some of you might find it really easy, first time natural. Some of you may take a little bit longer. That's absolutely fine. But what we want to do, you want to slide around the corner, prone. So let me show you how it looks. That's probably not going to show it. But in this scenario, we're going in. Let's say I see someone around the corner, right? I'm going to slide in and go prone, and you end up in a really weird motion. Let me show you how it looks. So we're going to slide into a prone, and look how it looks on their screen now. You're going to see how when I'm going through, it's just a really weird mechanic, and it looks really odd on the opponent's screen, and you can really catch them off guard. Look at that. I'm literally like on the floor in the most random angle, and it's not just a standard drop shot. No, I'm sliding around the corner. So let me show you again. We go through. I know he's there. I'm going to go slide across the corner and go into a prone. So we go through and look at that. It's very hard for them to track you, especially if you know where someone is. It's a great tool to use to camera opponents. Look at that. We go around the corner and look how I'm sitting. It's really weird. You essentially slide into a gunfight into a prone position. Now, when you do it straight on like this, when you're looking like in a straight direction, you do it like this, you're actually going to go like your legs open. It looks kind of weird, but let me show you how it looks on the enemy's POV. So we go through. I'll look straight there. Hopefully it shows it. But again, it's just a nice mechanic to use. You're essentially going for the drop shot, combining it with a slide cancel. It's a really weird mechanic, and you can see right there, it's basically just catching people in the sprint, catching them off guard like that. So if somebody's running towards you and you feel like, oh, they caught me off guard, you can go into a slide into a prone button, catches a really, really good mechanic to catch people off guard, and just kind of executes the off angles and stuff like that. So that's going to be tip number 4, the drop shot and the slide into a prone. By now, you know, we've got through a fair few nice bits of Omni movement, some basic mechanics, stuff like that. So now we're going to move on to one of my personal favorites again. I'm a big fan of Omni movement this year, and this mechanic is probably my best one in gunfights. It's going to be sliding sidewards. So there's a few ways to use it, and I'm going to show you exactly how. One way you can use it is specifically in gunfights, but you know where someone is. So right now I know where he is. I slide sidewards and I go for the shot. Hopefully, yeah, we actually see the kill cam, which will be perfect. But look how it looks. Most people don't expect this. You're going through in a gunfight. Look at that. I slide sideways. Very hard for people to track in a gunfight, and you can get fancy with it. You can get very fancy with it. And what you can do is you can say, right, I'm going to slide sideways and then I'm going to jump the opposite direction. Let me show you what I mean. So we go through, I'm like, okay, I see this opponent, I'm going to slide sideways, jump left. Just makes it really hard for them to track you, allows you to use more movement in your gunfights. So we're going to say, okay, you know what, we're going to combine what we did earlier. We're going to slide sideways, jump backwards. We're going to slide sideways, jump backwards. So just try these mechanics, have fun with it, and practice it. So right now I would say, okay, I'm going to warm up to 100 kills. I'm only allowed to slide sideways in a gunfight. And what you're going to realize is, one, when to do it in terms of timing, two, what's a good mechanic to pair with it, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of variables you can do, and I really, really like this one. The next thing I like to do is to camera people with this mechanic. Let's say right now, I shoulder for information. I know he's there on my right, so I'm going to go slide in and shoot people. Right now he knows he's outside of the door, so I'm going to slide in. So I see him. Oh, let me get out of there. Let me show you an example. I know it's against bots, but, you know, it still applies. Let's say I shoulder him. I know he's in there, right? Now I can do this. I can shoulder right, shoot him like that. You see how I get out of the gunfight? I can do that. It's a really good way of avoiding shots from your opponent and just getting that extra edge in gunfights. One of my favorite ways to gain the advantage this year is by using this mechanic. So I shoulder, I see him right there. I move right, I slide, I go for the kill. Just to show you guys how it works is when you stand still, whatever direction you walk towards, you can then slide, right? But if you stand exactly like still like this, and you walk right, can you see how my gun's moving left a little bit? That tells me I'm in the right area to slide that direction. So let me show you how what doesn't work. See, I was doing this, like it looks a bit weird. I don't want you to do this. I don't want you to run, slide, and look like that. That's not the same thing. This is just a normal slide. What I want you to do is stand directly forward like this, parallel to kind of, so right now I want to go left, right? So I stand forward, I move left and then slide. That's what I want you to do. So I see this guy, I'm gonna slide left by the door, make him weak, slide right again, and then I can go in, finish the kill with a slide cancel. So it's just a really good way of gaining the advantage in your gunfights. I highly recommend using it. Probably the best mechanic this year in terms of finessing in gunfights. Right now, look at this, I'm going through. Not a good example, he fries me, but yeah, I really like it. Just to kind of shoulder corner, so I see him right there. I'm like, okay, I want to shoulder this guy. I feel like he's watching me. I'm going to slide sideways, go for the shot, jump away. Just maximize that kind of opportunity by cameraing people. I go through, I go slide sideways. Look at that. You get so much momentum boost, but we'll go through that one specifically in a minute. And that's going to be it. Slide sideways, work through it. Very, very helpful. Let's move on to the next one. With Omni movement, you can do a lot of combinations. And what we're going to go through now is a combination from two mechanics we went through earlier. I like to split them up just to show you guys what to do. And now we can combine them. So one of the favorite ones I said is going basically sliding forward into a prone. As I mentioned, it's a really effective one. But now we're going to slide sideways into a prone. So you can see the combination here, okay? So we're going to go through and I'm going to show you how it looks from the enemy's POV. So right now, let's say I go across, I spot this opponent, okay? So now I want to go out this way. I could do a normal slide cancel like last COD, but what I'm going to do instead is if I'm standing like this, I'm going to slide sideways into a prone. And you can see if right here I go through, I see him on my right. There's so many nades. I see him on my right. I got to slide. Okay, I'm getting flashed as well. I slide sideways into a prone. Let me see how it looks. Such a good mechanic. I use this all the time and I camera so many people. You're seeing it right now. Look at this. He doesn't know what I'm doing. Look at that. You slide sideways into a prone. It just makes it harder for them to hit you. The whole point of Omni movement is to keep your opponents guessing while maximizing your chance of winning the gunfight. So right now I go through, slide left into a prone. Look at that. I'm on the floor. I can reposition. I slide left into a prone. That's what I like to do. That movement combined with, you know, sliding backwards and forwards and all that stuff. Let's see how it looks from the enemy's POV. Look at that. We go through. And in a gunfight, it's going to be very hard for them to judge it because they don't know what you're going to do. They might think you're going to slide cancel, right? When you slide cancel, you're kind of their level in terms of your positioning. But if you do this, if I'm like, right, I'm going to slide sideways. I see this guy there. I'm going to slide sideways into a prone. And I stop right there. You can basically control when you stop and whether you want to be upright or if you want to be on the floor, depending on your goal there. So I go through, slide into a prone. And look at that, I'm able to camera the corner. And then once I slide prone, I can jump up like that. And it's such an effective way of just using movement. So right now, I go through, slide into a prone. Let me show you what I mean. Slide into a prone right there. Then as soon as I see him, I can go, jump up, and hopefully you can kill me. Go on, bro, kill me. I want to come here. You're taking too long there. You're taking way too long. We need to see how it looks. You see right there, you see how I jump up? Again, if you get used to this and you just practice this in gunfights, it gets so difficult to play against. We go through, we jump up, let's see how it looks. This is literally what I use in competitive 8 all the time. I go through, I slide inwards like that, look at that, we jump upwards. It's so hard for them to track you. An amazing movement. Now on my screen, it looks okay, but on their screen, it looks so much more cracked. We go through and it just allows you to gain the advantage over your opponents. Again, very easy to do. You just want to practice combination. So right now, let's, you know, slide sideways into the prone. So I'm like slide sideways into the prone. And you're going to see when to use it, when not to use it, when to kind of manipulate and stuff like that. So one thing I like to do is to do it to camera corners. So I'm like, right, I see him around the corner. I know he's on my left. I slide sideways into that. I know he's there. I know he's coming to my left. Slide sideways into that. That's how I like to use it personally. But again, the good thing about only movement is there's so many variables that you can kind of practice it the way you want. So let's move on to tip number 7. I mentioned briefly how jump shots aren't that good this year in comparison, but one thing that is really good is the jump plus the slide. You get like a nice little momentum boost with your movement, and it's just something that I think pros will start to abuse the more and more the year goes on, and you're going to see a lot more of it in competitive rank play and stuff like that. So what you want to do is kind of jump, then slide. And I want to show you how it looks. We stop right there. York's my guy, bro. York's always the one getting the kills, which is perfect. But look at this right now. Look as we jump and slide around the corner. I want you to look how fast we look. Like, that is so difficult to play against. Imagine playing against someone that's kind of like, imagine you're pre-aim in his corner, someone kind of jumps and slides and shoots you. They're going to get such an advantage because they move so much faster. So you want to jump and slide with momentum. I think this is going to be something that's really impactful in Warzone, because you're going to be jumping and sliding across the map. You're going to be slide cancelling and then jumping and sliding to gain that advantage. And I think people are going to really abuse it, especially the top tier players. Just going to get so much more movement against their opponent to be able to camera them. But even in multiplayer, wherever you're playing, if you know where someone is, right now I'm going through, jump and slide, and look at that, I get momentum. I get the extra momentum. Again, nice and easy to use, and you want to practice it, because what happens is when you jump and slide, your aim goes a little bit lower and then goes up again. So it's good to practice it to get used to your centering. So what I would do is go through, shoot 50 bots like this. Again, just getting used to it, getting used to the movement, understanding the movement, stuff like that. We go across, and then I can maybe, you know, add in what we went through earlier, some slide sideways, stuff like that. Whenever I'm practicing stuff, I like to mix things up and just go through, you know, different movements I'm working with. But when I'm showing you guys tutorials, I like to go one at a time. But once you get comfortable with it, don't be afraid to try different things. Don't be afraid to try different movements together, see what works for you. So you see right there, we went from the slide into the prone, we go to the sideways slide, I'm gonna back away, slide into cover, slide left, into cover again, into the prone. So right there, it didn't really work out. And again, it's just about finding what works for you. So once again, let me show you that last one, and hopefully it can show an enemy's POV. So where is it? Well, let's wait for the bot to come out. All right, perfect. So we'll look at me here. So right now, I'll go through. Don't kill me. I want to see how it looks. Go on, York. It's my boy York again, bro. I know York's always coming in clutch. So look at this. You see as I'm going through, and right there, look, as he's watching me, look at that sliding past the screen. Very, very difficult to play with. And that's going to be tip number 7. Hey, if you guys have made it so far and enjoyed the video, I really appreciate if you guys can drop a like and subscribe to the channel. We're on tip number 8. This one is a little bit difficult, okay? For this one, what we want to do is we want to make sure you guys are on hybrid. We're going to introduce the Dolphin dive to your game. Now, I personally have a scuffing vision, so I'm not using the default controls in terms of how to Dolphin dive, okay? But let me show you guys how it's done and kind of go through it together. It's not the easiest thing. Again, I'm not really used to it because I don't use it per se. I use a separate controller. So for me, just to show you guys how it works, let me really quickly show you guys actually, in case you guys have a scuffing vision. So you can see I've actually mapped my controller. Anyone that's looking for a controller, Scuff, make sure you sponsor your boy. I'm plugging your thing in right now. But anyways, you can see here, I've got my D-pad 2 to the right button. So this controller has 2 buttons on the side. And what I'm able to do is I'm able to press the ping button with this one. And the left one, I'm able to press, you see right here, my number 1 is key binded to it. I'm able to press the dive button, okay? So when I'm playing the game, I don't have to physically do the normal dive. I can press the button on the left and it would Dolphin dive for me when I hold it. But if you go to your movement behaviors here and you put the slide dive behavior to hybrid, okay? Hybrid is very important. So what you can do now, when you tap it, it slides, okay? Which is what you want. Just normal slide cancel, okay? When you're doing normal slides, whatever you want to do, you just tap it. If you want to dive, what you do is you press the left button in. So you press the left button in and then you press the right stick, okay? So when you normally slide, you're not really pressing in your left button. You're just moving it. You're moving it around, but you're not pressing it in. But when you want to dive, so let's say I want to dive around this corner, I'll press it in and then slide. Okay? That's the only difference. So normal is slide, normal is slide. When I press it in, then slide, it activates a dive, okay? Now, last year the dive was good. I personally enjoyed it. I personally used it because of my hybrid controller. Again, I was using it quite a lot. A lot of people didn't really use it, and I understood why. It was good, but it wasn't game changer. However, this year is a game changer. Why? Because you can now dive sideways. Just like you can slide sideways, you can dive sideways. Okay? Not only that, you can dive backwards. You can dive off ledges. You can go through. You can do the jump, slide into a dive. You can do crazy stuff. So you can slide into a shot. So right now, if I go through, I can kind of dive off into a shot like that. And let me show you how it looks. It's just about adding that extra movement. If you guys are really looking to up your game, this is a skill gap. You're probably looking at this like, this is kind of unnecessary. It's a bit too much. But that's the point. If you guys are trying to reach your potential, which I'm sure you are, if you're watching videos like this that I put on the channel, you guys are trying to reach your potential, learn this skill, learn how to dive in the game. It will make you such a better player. It'll make you escape certain areas. If you want that movement like Shotsy, this is the start. I'm not saying you'll get Shotsy movement overnight. However, having the dive in your game will make it a lot more likely. You go through and you can just see I'm able to use a dive backwards, use a dive sideways. Right now, let's see, I'm trapped in this area. I can't go anywhere. I can't slide out. I'm going to dive across. I'll go through. And look at this. I'm like, okay, I want to dive out. Let's just dive out. I can turn around. I'm like, okay, I want to dive through. I'm going to shoot him right here. Let's see how it looks. Go, kill me. Okay, hopefully they can show you how it looks. I really like the dive. I haven't used it too much. I literally just changed, I'd say yesterday, back to this with my Elite controller because it wasn't working. But I was like, for this video, I need to show you guys a dive. And it's just about combining these techniques. So right now, let's say I go through. I want to get behind that car. Yes, I could slide there, but let's say I'm standing somewhere else where I want to get there as quick as possible. Like right now, if I'm getting shot and I want to go through, I'll just quickly dive, right? It's harder for them to hit me. So I go through, I want to dive across the door, and now I can, you know, get some shots off, jump backwards. Remember, just combine the movements. That's literally what I do in the game. I combine the movements. People say Hydra, Shots have the best movements. It's not just about their mechanics, it's about their efficiency. They know exactly what movement to use when, and their combination of movement is unbelievable. And that's exactly what you guys need to do, is learn combinations, learn when to use what movement, stuff like that. I'm pretty sure you can still dive on ledges, which gives you a little speed boost, but speed boost, sorry, that's what I just said, that was not English, but I don't know where they are on this map specifically, so we're going to leave that for now. But yeah, just like that, for example, you see we go through, we get a little speed boost, we go across. I'm actually messing that one up. There you go, we go across. It doesn't really work out that well there, but again, when you play comp maps, you'll find these little ledges. Maybe the box there does it. Again, I'm not done it on Nuketown, so it's hard to kind of execute, but just about practicing. Just practicing that, see what works for you, and I guarantee it will help your movement in those scenarios. Hit number 9. We are almost there. We're almost at the finish line for this one. It's a little bit cheesy. We're going to be going through snaking, how to snake, what is snaking, why it's so broken that it was banned in the CDL. Let's get right into it. So what is snaking? Snaking is essentially when you camera your opponents using the peek up feature. Let me show you by getting to a piece of cover right here, and I'm going to show you how broken it is, okay? If I'm at this right area here, okay, there's a lot of bots I have to quickly get through, so we're going to go through, we're going to get rid of these bots. Okay, that was awkward. If they got me, that would have been awkward. So what we're going to do is this. You want to go prone, and you want to move forward. Very simple. Go prone, move forward. Go prone and move forward, okay? Let me show you how it looks at the enemy's POV. You see how they can't even hit me? There's a reason why. I hope they can kill me here. Look how it looks on the enemy's POV. This is insane. Look at this. They can't even see me. But on my screen, I can see a lot of them. I can see so much of them, right? Because you're abusing the mechanic. And this is why it's broken in the CDL. Imagine the best players in the world using this mechanic. You essentially can't kill them in certain areas. When they go to certain head glitches, you physically cannot kill them. Now, what I did there was a very basic version. I was just moving up and down. The best players in the world, when they're actually snaking, what they decide to do is go left and right. Why? It's harder for you to hit. And not only that, when you go up, they don't know where you're coming from, because you could be going from anywhere. So if I was to snake, I'll do this. Snake like this, shoot like this, and it just makes it so hard for them to kill you. Yes, I'm snaking bots right now. Please do not judge me. Make sure to drop a like on the video. As we go through, you can see it's very, very hard to hit. When I'm standing still, they can see my head. When I'm snaking like this, it's essentially impossible. Even the bots here, they are confused. I'll probably get reported by the bots right here. Kill me, and let's see how it looks. We go through one of the most broken mechanics by far in the game. Look, they cannot even see you, and I was killing everyone. You can see their head, they cannot see you. So you just go prone, and you simply just go in a running position. So let's slow it down. You go prone, you move forward. You go prone, move forward. The problem is when you're literally against the wall, there's not a lot of space and it looks a little bit weird. So what I like to do is go prone, move a step backwards. So go prone, move a step backwards, go prone, move a step backwards. Don't be afraid to shoot as you're kind of coming up and going down, because even if you miss a few bullets, you're going to hit a lot more. So we go through, look, we're shooting as we're going up and down, and it just makes it so hard for people to hit you. It's so broken, it's GA'd. If you guys play anything competitive like 8s or CMGs, please look at the rules before you play, because it's more than likely going to be GA'd, which means you cannot use it. GA'd is gentleman's agreement, which essentially means the pros agree not to use it. If you do, it could result in a forfeit. So please do not use it. However, for rank play, a lot of people use it, and I know that a lot of you guys play rank play, so I thought I'd show you guys the broken mechanic, because if other people are using it against you, then I would recommend using it back, fight fire with fire. But for, you know, any friendly games or 8s, I would not personally use it, and I don't recommend it either, just because, you know, people don't like it, and I personally don't like it in the game either. And I'm only showing you guys because in rank play it's something that can't be fixed. So, you know, people are going to use it, so I also show my subscribers how to use it. Anyways, that's going to be snaking while behind cover. It's nice and simple. The next thing is snaking while standing. So let's say we're in a scenario where I'm out in the open. I don't have a piece of cover next to me, and I can't really escape. Obviously, with this new Omni mover, we can, you know, maybe Dolphin dive backwards or slide away, just like we mentioned. But for those scenarios where you're really not in a good spot and you can't physically get away, let's say I'm right here. I physically can't get away quick enough. I'm going to die, right? What you want to do is you want to snake the floor. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine there's a wall in front of you. You just want to snake like this. You want to make sure you're a harder target to hit. Let me explain once again. When you're going to a gunfight where you physically cannot escape, you physically find yourself in a bad position, you probably played the gunfight wrong. You probably caught yourself in a bad spot. That's fine. But what we need to do now is we need to make sure we have a high chance of not only just winning the gunfight, but even if we lose the gunfight, at least making the opponent one shot for our teammate to get the trade. So let's say I catch myself in a bad position. What I would do, instead of standing still and giving them an easy kill, I would strafe. I would strafe like this, make sure they're a harder target to kill, and just make it a little bit more difficult for them. One thing I did forget to mention, my tip number 1, which is really bad for me, hopefully you guys that are still here are watching it, you should be strafing in your gunfights because it activates aim assist. So when you're doing your centering drill at the start, like I forgot to mention, you want to be strafing. So we work on our centering, then we go through, make sure you're strafing because it activates aim assist, okay? We'll go through aim assist in another video, but that's something to just remember. Make sure you strafe left and right on a head glitch or wherever you are because it activates aim assist to make your shot easier. Back to snaking. In this scenario, I'm not going to stand still. I'm going to be going like this. Let me show you how it looks in the enemy's POV in comparison. So you can see like here, I'm snaking. Let's see how it looks from their POV. It's a lot harder than hitting me normally. Look, you see I'm moving left and right? Yes, not the most difficult thing in the universe. I'm not saying that, but it's definitely better than standing still. So if you find yourself caught off guard and you can't do anything, add some omni movement, make it harder for them to hit you, add some strafing, sliding sideways, sliding left and right, you know, sliding backwards, make it harder for them to hit you. Let's say someone catching me off guard here. As they come through, I'm ready for them. I'm going to slide backwards. Look at that. I'm going to slide backwards and go for a shot. I see this guy. I'm one shot. I'm going to go right. I'm going to go left. You see what I'm saying? So add this movement to your game when someone's chasing you, especially when you're weak and you feel like you have no advantage. Use that movement to give you that advantage. If you've made it so far, I want to say thank you very much. I know it's a long-winded video, but I really do think there's a lot of value in here. If you guys are really trying to improve, I honestly think just starting off with these mechanics, just going through the warm-ups will definitely get you there. I'm really trying to hit 25k by the end of the year, so I'd love if you guys can subscribe. If you got any value from today's video, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Let's move on to tip number 10. It's going to be the Hipfire, probably my favorite shooting mechanic in the game. Let's go through it. Shout out to my boy Dashi. This is where I learned it, and I've been incorporating it ever since. Okay, so when you're shooting with a weapon like the aims, okay, what happens is, like I mentioned in tip number 1, so now we're kind of going full circle, you have a natural recoil pattern. So as you can see here, you have a natural recoil pattern that goes up and goes round. So what I said in tip number 1 is just getting the flow of your weapon, shoot some players, shoot some bots, go through, and just control your recoil, right? Nice and simple. But what I didn't say, and I wanted to wait to the end now that we're fully warmed up. Okay, Dolphin, what are you doing, bro? You're embarrassing me. What I wanted to say is to use the tap fire mechanic. Now, if you look on the bottom right, you see how I'm changing between normal and single fire, or in this case, launcher. I don't know why I have a launcher on, but please don't judge me. I don't know. I'm going to move on. You don't want to do that. You don't want to switch between single tap fire and normal. That's not what I mean. What you want to do is keep your weapon at fully automatic, but shoot your weapon as if it's a burst weapon, okay? So I want you to manually shoot 3 or 4 bullets at a time. In this case, you can shoot a bit more, but stop. Once you've hit an amount of bullets to kill the opponent, I want you to stop. Now, why do we do this? It's because we want to make sure our shot is how it needs to be. We want to make sure our weapon is not going all over the place, okay? If you hit, let's see how many bullets it takes to hit with the aims. This is why it's so important to understand your weapon. So let me go through. Let's find an opponent to shoot with. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm trying to show YouTube an example. Why would you fry me? I believe it's 5 with the aims. Now, I should know this, but let's go through. They did have a nerf. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 bullets, okay? That tells me if I shoot him in the body 5 times, he'll be dead. So we go through. We stop. You see that I hit him, we stop. What you want to do is you want to stop shooting. This is a very good accuracy test. Okay, so we go through, we stop shooting. We stop shooting. And what happens is your weapon starts to center in the middle again. It makes it easier. Yes, you're stopping shooting for a second where you potentially could have got the kill. But what you're doing is making sure you're hitting all your bullets. So technically the time to kill is actually the same, if not less, because you're not whiffing your shots. You're kind of stopping and making sure you're more accurate. So what I like to do is scenarios like that is I like to hit like 3 or 4 bullets, stop for literally 1 millisecond, and then shoot again. Because when you shoot a weapon, right, the first few bullets are easy to control than the last. Let me show you what I mean. When I shoot 45 there without controlling my right stick, you see how my whole weapon goes up? But when I just shoot my first few, it's very, very easy to control. As soon as I shoot more than 10, look at that. You see how my bullets went all over the place? That's what naturally happens. So we go through, we shoot, it goes in the middle. We go again, let's see this opponent. So what I like to do is this, especially when they're in scenarios like that, in tight areas, I like to shoot a few bullets, stop, and then finish it off. Now, if somebody's running right at you, if somebody's out in the open and you know you're going to hit the shot, just go for the kill. Like right there, I would just go for the kill. Because they're out in the open, I don't need to waste any bullets, I can just go for the kill. I don't need to take my time. But if someone's a bit further back, like right there, I would take my time and I would make sure I hit all my bullets and give myself a better chance of getting that gunfight without wasting too much time. So go through, right there, here we take him out. Let's say I go around the corner, side cancel, I'll shoot him, back away. Just making sure you're only shooting the right amount of bullets so that you're not wasting any and you're just a bit more accurate. So we go through again. But when this is really important is when somebody's on a head glitch. When somebody's on a head glitch, you want to use the burst fire. You want to do that single tap fire because it's harder to hit their head. Hopefully I can find an example, but I don't think the bot's going to sit on the head glitch, but at least the explanation could be there. So let's say somebody's sitting on this car here, right? If I'm standing there, let's say I'm trying to beam someone in the head. Instead of just shooting and controlling my recoil, what happens is it gets really hard to hit them exactly in the head. But when you do the tap fire, when you shoot like 3 bullets at a time and then shoot again, it makes it easier because you're controlling that recoil with a lot less kind of bounce. So you're going through, you see I'm stopping, it's just so much easier for me to work on my shot. So if somebody's standing back there, I can stop and shoot like that. Very, very easy. Stop and shoot like that. Now again, you have to be careful. What you don't want to do is use this against someone in the open shooting you because they're going to kill you. If you see someone running and you want to get clear shots, shoot, stop, shoot again. And it makes it so much easier. So once again, we go through, shoot, stop. Shoot, stop, and it just makes your overall shot nice and smooth. The recoil is nice and easy to control. You don't have any issues. And what happens is you're going to find the more you play, the more you get used to your actual accuracy. When you shoot the X amount of bullets that it takes to kill someone, you're going to naturally stop. Let's go nuclear. Okay, I'm shooting bots like that. Okay, I'm not going to gas the nuclear. Let me move on. But when you shoot bots and you know exactly, so when you shoot people, you know exactly the amount of bullets it takes. You will then be able to kind of work on your accuracy. And okay, so I missed this amount of bullets. And this is what I watched Dashy do. He shoots the exact amount of bullets needed and overall just allows him to fine tune his shot. So it's not only a good warm-up mechanic for me personally, it's a great way of just improving your accuracy because you now know how many shots to hit. And if somebody's on a head glitch, I would always watch Dashy. He wouldn't just spray like this. If someone's on a head glitch, he wouldn't just spray like this. No, he would shoot like 3 bullets, stop, and then shoot 3 more. And he would absolutely rip the player off the head glitch. I didn't do the best example showing it, I'll be honest. So if you guys watch Dashy warm up, try to see how he shoots his bots. He'll shoot, stop, shoot again. He'll hit the exact amount of bullets needed every single time, especially when warming up against bots. He'll shoot the exact amount of bullets needed on the head and he'll go from there. It just overall helps him tune his shot and stuff like that. And that's going to be it for me today. It's a 30-minute guide on how to warm up effectively, covering all the mechanics essentially in the game. There's a few more variable kind of mechanics in the game, but that was going to be most of it, to be honest with you. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to drop a like, a channel, subscribe if you guys are new. I put a lot of effort into thinking of the best mechanics for you guys, so I'd really appreciate if we could hit 25k subs as quick as possible, man. I know you guys can do it as we approach Black Ops 6. Rank play is just around the corner. Got a lot of videos for you guys. Let me know down below as well what type of videos you guys want to see from me personally, and I'll make sure to do that for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys for another one tomorrow. Peace.